Hello everyone, my name is Alfonso and I'm your host with the Florida Aviation Network. We are broadcasting free and in the clear from the terminal building at the Sebring Regional Airport in Sebring, Florida during the U.S. Sport Aviation Expo 2017. Today, our guest is Shawn Okum. He is the president of FPNA and working with Orbital Power. Shawn, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Oh, we're thrilled. Especially, I'm a mechanic, so I know I'm going to learn something. We were talking before the show began, and this has to do all about engines. So why don't you go ahead and tell our viewers what this is all about.
Okay. So FPNA has been working at the Sebring Airport for over 20 years manufacturing light sport aircraft, actually small aircraft and kits stepping into the light sport arena. Our Cape Town seaplane is extremely well known, and one of the issues you have with seaplanes is you're not always at airports to get aviation gas, and so you may want to use gasoline and other fuels. As we see the industry grow, innovation is very important to aviation, and so we've expanded our business into drone integration, and to that end, engines became, again, a critical factor. So we started working with a company called Orbital Power, also here in Florida, who makes a Wankel cycle engine, highest power density. Here's an example of one of our engines. So this engine is able to power most of the drones that are flying out there, burns fossil fuels, jet fuels, pretty much any fuel that you pour in on the fly, it mixes it. You don't have to change injectors or anything like that. It's using new materials that's working. We've integrated them to Jones generators, 500 watt, 5 kVA, 10 kVA generators, very small, very light. And we're showing those at the expo here. We have a drone in our booth to show what we do for the services. We integrate the flight control systems and the engines. We can design and build the actual craft for the customer. And this can be anything from line of sight flying to flying in a trailer halfway around the world.
Wow. That's the size of the engine right there.
This is one of 3 sizes. Our biggest engine is about the size of a laptop computer, weighs 18 pounds and puts out 40 horsepower.
Holy. You know, this drone industry is amazing. I had a guest before you came here, and now they're making drones to do racing indoors with small drones.
Well, the VR goggles that they have are absolutely amazing. The things that they can get the drones to do, just follow your eyes and away it goes.
That's right, and there's a camera in the drone, I believe, and it sends back the information. I never knew that. I just learned that here today.
Yeah, so from a commercial side for drones, one of the big issues is they have electronic drones are great for certain environments, but they're only good for between 45 and 67 minutes based on the battery life, obviously.
Right.
And the important part of the drone, unlike airplanes where we go up to have fun and get our $100 hamburger in today's world, the important part of a drone is to be able to complete the task at hand. And most tasks take more than 45 minutes.
Right.
So there is a real need for a drone that is capable of flying for 8 to 10 hours. And the reason for the 8 hours is it's the time in which a working shift exists. And the only way we can get to that is using a fossil fuel engine. The question becomes, does it run the drone primarily, or does it recharge the battery system? And we're a believer in a hybrid of both. And that's why we teamed with Orbital Power, because their engines have such high power density, and their generator systems put out enough power to be able to recharge the battery systems and give you an option from an operational standpoint of fossil fuel only, electric only. You can choose a silent mode if you wanted to. Fly it for 40 minutes and let the generator recharge it without interrupting the flight, and then return the drone back at the end of a standard working shift. a true commercial operation.
Holy, so that's a Prius with propellers.
That is correct. Except that the Prius is using a different type of electrical system.
I know. It was
Right.
just another thing that I thought when you were mentioning the $300 hamburger or the $200 hamburger, maybe we can send the drone now and get the burger and bring it back.
Well, I don't know that the FAA would allow us to have that much traffic to be delivery of fast food, but it's certainly a thought.
So let me see if I get this straight. This engine will drive a generator. Is that what you were saying?
That is correct. It can be primary propulsion for the aircraft. It can also drive a generator. And what we currently have is we have a 500-watt generator that weighs 17 pounds with batteries and full fuel, giving you 2.5 hours of runtime. These can be designed easily because they're tubular in design, notice the circular shape,
Right.
so they can easily fit into the fuselage of an aircraft. And because we're using a Wankel cycle, which is a rotary engine style, we have a turbine-like stability in the craft, which doesn't cause any vibrational issues for the aircraft and provides real power to an ever-growing market of electrical needs.
Perfect. Now, let me ask you now about your partners. I mean, your
So our business partners are, of course, we'll design a craft, or we'll take a craft that you have, and then we have to integrate an engine of some type. So that's what Orbital Power does. Orbital Power gives us the proper size engine that we need that's fitted. It's then machined and made here in Florida, and then it's matched to our craft. And the flight control systems come from various different companies. Space Vector is one of our partners who does. They actually do parts for satellites, high altitude observation, all sorts of pieces. And drones, even today, are now working off of GPS. So although the pilots are all trying to find their place in aviation, this is true automation. So you can actually set up GPS coordinates, set the drone loose, and it does the job. And then the pilot becomes strictly a monitor and can overtake the aircraft if necessarily. These are not the toys that you have at home. These are not even the drones that you'll use to take a photograph for 30 minutes. These are real workhorses. This is what the drone community really can do. Crop dusting, looking at telephone lines, pipeline searches, search and rescue, real distance flying. That opens up a new world of capability. And that innovation we're also bringing to generator packages, small lightweight power. 5,000 watts will power a small house in Florida with air conditioning. And at 52 pounds, it's probably 500 to 1,000 pounds lighter than any competition. And burning jet fuels, alcohols, gasolines, mixing them, putting them together, opens up a whole new world of power generation and innovation, all spawned from aviation.
anything that burns.
Pretty much.
Anything that burns.
Caloric value.
Oh my God. Now, you also may have something to say about electronics.
Yes, so from an electronics, the power management units that are designed into these come from another one of our contractors called Sullivan UAV. They have a very good pedigree from an electronics standpoint. We integrate those into the engines, to the aircraft, to the charging systems, and the battery systems. So we have PMUs that could weigh, ounces instead of tens of pounds, that are able to manage battery charging, battery management systems, electrical flow, feed to flight control systems. And so they're also part of the team that's involved.
Cool. Now, I'd like to ask you now, and I do this to all my interviewees.
Absolutely.
How did you become involved or into the aviation world? In other words, what was that magic moment?
The magic was the sky my whole life.
Okay.
I've been flying literally since I was 10 years old. I started with a Boy Scout Explorers post, and for everybody out there, support the Boy Scouts Explorers.
Yes.
They gave me the capability to really discover my wings and fly. I was part of an EAA group chapter on the western U.S. I then was a commercial pilot, flew Airbuses, Boeings, have a pretty good flying resume. Chose to leave the airlines because I have my own engineering business. We build small aircraft for my desire and fun, and then customers started buying our airplanes. We then went into the float area because there was a sorely lacking area in floats. So our floats are some of the leading floats in the industry, waterborne floats on the FPNA website, if I can plug our business.
Of course.
And then because we see that the market is getting a bit older, we then decided to go into a position of drone integration and thus the engines and electronics to carry the further pursuit of aviation.
Perfect. Now, where did you learn to fly? Where,
Boy Scout Explorer's Post was how I started, and then I've cut my teeth in various different aspects of aviation. So from Boeing to Douglas to Piedmont Airlines, U.S. Airways, American Airlines, it's kind of various.
Maybe you met my son. He flew for Piedmont, Dash 8s, and then he went to U.S. Air,
So I flew for Piedmont Mainline before before it was transferred to Hanson Aviation, which became Piedmont Airlines when we became U.S. Air.
That's before his time. Yeah, he's only he's now Captain United. You know,
good for him.
So he's there. But you know, we've seen this evolution of the drones come so fast, and to the point that we held a seminar in Lakeland. About maybe 3-4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, and they had one of the gurus of drones regulations, and then another individual who uses drones for a living. I mean, he does filming and does commercials and all this kind of thing. And I was shocked to see how this industry have picked up in such a small amount of time. So my question to you is, where do you see, if you could look into the future, the drones 5 years from now?
Okay, so drones have actually been around for decades. I was a boy playing with drones. Radio-controlled aircraft are drones. So really what's occurred is that as electronics have gotten smaller, it's becoming more mainstream, and really it's because television has broadcast companies that are planning to use drones for delivery, which will never happen.
Right.
You might have them for unique pieces, but you're not going to buy a product online and have it fly to your house. Many issues beyond FAA. But the other piece is, I think in the future, you will see a lot of high altitude drone integration. You'll see it with big commercial companies. I think there'll be a shakeout in the industry versus what you're seeing now. Everybody's in it and it'll shake down, just like the automotive went from 35 automobile companies to basically 6 big ones on a global basis.
Exactly.
I think you'll see the same in the drone industry.
So the drones are here to stay.
Oh, absolutely, and they will grow, and they will have more functionality, and it's just another avenue for people to get into flying. But people should still fly airplanes. Do not get out of the loop. Go and fly. It's the greatest thrill we have.
You got to do both.
Absolutely.
And that's what I do. I do a lot of seminars, you know, try to stay and everything else, and I'm always saying that. I mean, you know, we had the ability to do both things, you know. Well, anyway, Shawn, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Learn a whole bunch of stuff. I'm really impressed with that little engine that you have there. Wish you lots of luck with your projects and your company and your partners.
Thank you.
And I hope that you have a very successful show.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope people will come to our site at www.fpna.com, also orbitalpower.com, and you'll be able to see those engines to see what they are. Quite amazing little pieces.
And
Thank you very much.
where are you located on the field?
We're on the commercial hangars where we've been for the last 17 years.
Cool.
And our engines come from Wauchula, Florida, and our flight control systems come from California. So all made in America.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, and wish you lots of luck.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And our viewers out there in cyberspace, this is Diego Alfonso signing off with the Florida Aviation Network.